items on column A. You know, these are items that you scored. Like, can you see the difference between the pull style? In other words, how do I attract you? How do I kind of make it interesting for you? Versus me sort of telling, demanding, using my authority. So I just want you to just spend a couple of minutes, just turn to the person next to you, so maybe like groups of 2 here, just person next to you, have a quick chat there about the difference in the styles. All right, what's the difference between the pull style and the push style? Just like, you can sort of like go through right here. So get an idea of like what a pull is and what a push is. You sort of tell from the things that you're storing here. Yeah, so where you look forward to something that you're quite that's a pull strategy, right? So I'm not telling somebody what to do. I'm saying you can find your listen. So we just want to get clear on what the difference is. Are you sort of clear on however, in this case, because it goes from this correct. You should do yourself. It's easy.
I recheck it.
Anything to clarify? Are you sort of happy to make what the difference? The interesting ones, I suppose, are looking at your 0s and 4s, right? Those will sort of tell you a lot about your style. Any 4s? A few 4s? 0s? 0s. That's very much a push style, telling you something. What we're going to say here is like it's not good or bad. It's just like it's situational. It's situation. Like for example, if something is a crisis, if someone is talking, and you're getting to a point, and you interrupt them and say, "Look, we can find something." In situation, it's okay, right? Because we're in a crisis, we need to act fast, we need to get things done. You're kind of saying something not relevant. I wouldn't interrupt you. But in another situation, that might be. It's going to be a situation, so that's what we need to be aware of. take a seat here. We'll talk more about these styles. Grab a seat. So when you're having a look at when you're having a look at your own questionnaire, look at the zeros and fours. The zeros, the fours, they're going to tell you more about your preference and your style. So we want to get comfortable using a push and a pull style. And as you can see on the chart here, there's ways that we think about this. So the push style is more about directing, explaining, proving, applying pressure, like telling. Much more sort of a forceful, authority, top-down, directive style. Using logic, using reasoning, using power, right? So do we use this in business? Yes, you see it all the time. It's used a lot, right? What we're saying here is that it's not always the best way to use. No, we're not in the military, right? This is something you find in military. It's all push, top down, all the way, right? But we're not in a military organization, right? We're in a company. We're dealing with different people, different ages, different personalities. So we need to use a pull approach, inviting, attracting, involving, creating desire. Why do we want to use pull? Isn't it just easier to push? Yeah, it's easier, it's quicker, but it's not always effective. You don't get that engagement from people as much. Some people don't like to be told what to do. Right? Some people, will push back. Right? So we want to use these different tactics we're going to get into today to think about pulling. For example, can you use a push strategy with your manager? Right? So your manager might use it with you. Can you use it with your manager? You just go and tell your manager what to do. Can you go and tell a senior stakeholder what to do? A senior investor can't, right? It's not realistic. Why? Because you don't have the authority, the power, right? So you have to find a different way. So that's where the pull strategy comes in. So there's really saying that you need different approaches based in different situations with different people, right? And that's what we're going to be exploring today. So the first one here is going to be around reasoning, logical reasoning. So we saw that example, using reason to persuade someone that came up straight away. This is the most common one in business, logical reasoning. We use logic a lot, we report, and we use data, and we use numbers, etc., etc. It can be effective, but it needs something what we're going to call strong reasoning. Strong reasoning, not weak reasoning. We're going to explore those today. So the logic is really important. I love Star Trek. If you know Star Trek, there's that character, Mr. Spock, and he was always all about the logic. No emotion, just the logic, just the data. And sometimes that's what you need to have, right? You need just to have the data. For each of these tactics, each of these 6 tactics we'll go through, I'm going to share the power dynamics where they can be quite effective. So this one here is used with everybody, right? Peers, our team, and with the boss, right? Remember we did these in the previous session? Remember these pictures? You should remember those, right? So logical reasoning you can use with everybody. Facts, pros and cons, explaining their concerns, solving solutions. You do this all the time, right? It's the most common one used in business. So let's use an example where we sort of start with data, because data by itself is not enough, right? Imagine you get a list of data, a weekly update comes in, there's a whole bunch of data coming in, right? All data is coming in here. And then as a manager, as a leader, you sort of say, okay, well, what do we need to focus on now? Right? You're getting all that data in front of you. Just take a minute at your table. What action should be taken next week based on this data? On the data that you have. And why? Have a little discussion at your table for a couple of minutes. Maybe some data is missing, but based on what you've got, what action should be taken? Any particular data is more important? Focus? What are you focusing on? Which data point?
Mostly, I think in this course, you can see about the delay communication.
Okay, the delay communication.
Yes,
Okay.
so the transfer information between front line and the front line is delay, so it causes the late boarding flow.
You're assuming that, right? You're implying that.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. What should you be doing next week about that?
For my team, we have the three main.
Give me one best idea.
One best idea. We create one channel, official channel, that everyone can make it during operation.
Okay.
So the ground staff, the cabin staff, the engineer staff, everyone is at
All
the
the
same
same
time.
page.
So if any baggage problem, they should be dropped in the group. If there is an aircraft problem, they can put it in the group.
Okay.
If they are ready
Makes
for
sense.
boarding, just
Good.
drop in the group.
I get it. I get it. How about for you? You wanted to share? You had one idea?
Okay, so for us, we discussing most of about the OTP, the presentation for the CA, and our target is 85, and also relate to the lead bonding. So for our discussion, we want to take action next week. That is mean to strictly after implement about the bonding regulation and policy for both about the lead bonding and also can make the cabin complaint and bucket complaint increase. So based on maintain this, our OTP target will be increase, our OTP percentage will be increased, and also we can be to discussion it can reduce the target or not. As we can make the OTP increase and also make the target between of our 1 and 1. So this is our action.
All right, good. So what we're sort of saying here is there's going to be a number that we can extract some meaning from. And that's the thing that we should be controlling, right? So when we have data, lots of data points, but the thing is we have to turn that into some sort of meaning before we can take action, right? So if we go back here and we look at, some things around targets, it's going to be quite hard to change this next week, correct? Right? It's going to be quite outside your control. But there's going to be things down here where you were sort of saying, are you focused on the delayed communication? So the meaning that you're implying is that we're not communicating effectively. So the action is, well, here's a channel where we can now overcome that, right? So if you were like standing up, the thing that you missed in your logic is the meaning part. So what we're suggesting here is when you're using this approach, you want to get really clear on this. You want to say this out. So for example, data point, there was frustrations about the delay in communication. What that means is like, the different teams were just not communicating fast enough or in real time, right? That's kind of the meaning, right? The meaning, this is what's causing it. So now the action is this, here's the solution. So that's strong reasoning, because I can now see the logic. Because if you go straight to, well, what you need to do is start up a new channel, and what I'm hearing is like, technology, and I'm missing a step. So get really clear, because like when you guys were talking initially, you were saying, look, the main cause is late boarding, right? We focus on that, right? That's going to be much more within our control, isn't it? Right? So then that's something you can do about it. So the thing is with data, we tend to focus on targets, right? But targets don't really change. They're kind of outside our control. They're kind of set. So you can't really sort of put all your energy towards that. You really want to just get really clear on what the data point is, what that actually means, so make that explicit, because often we assume that, and then the action makes a lot more sense. All right. So that's what we're trying to do here with our data. We're going to get ready to do a little bit of logical reasoning. We're going to do another quick line-up here. Line-up based on the longest distance that you've run. The longest distance in one go. So this would be 5K, 1K, and back there, any marathon runners? Let's do a quick line-up. Line up as soon as you can. Longest, furthest distance over that. Shortest at the front. So look, you run in one go. 5K? Just a 5K? Anyone less than 5K? How far is it?
5 kilo. 3 kilometer. 3 kilometers. So it's less than 3 come forward.
Yeah, three.
Less than 3 stand in front of me. Less than 3 in front of me.
Three should be forward. Three goes back.
Less than 3 the rope. 3.
Try and make a line. Move him to the front. 3K, move to the front. You did less than 3K? 2K. Okay, so you need to tell me that. He goes right at the front. She's done 5K. So who do we have in the back?
From 5 kilograms
So this is the shortest at the front.
Yeah, the shortest at the front.
Longest at the back.
5.
What's yours? You're in the right place. You need to talk to ask the people. So let's see what we got here. We got how far? 7.
5.
5 on it. 5. 3.
2.
2. Wow. All right, so partner up in threes. Groups of 3. 3 if you can. I know there'll be one group of 2, 3. Sorry, 3, 3, 3, 3, and 2. What run and 2? Yes. All right. So here's the challenge. I want to influence a friend to run a marathon with me. Now I know for everybody in the room that's really long, right? Because your most was 7K, right? So a marathon is a long way. How would you go about influencing them with reason? So using the logical reasoning. So just in your groups, just spend a couple of minutes. How would you influence somebody using reasoning? Okay? Logical reasoning. What reason would you use? Say 1 more minute. 1 more minute. All right, so let's just go down quickly. Just give me your one best reason, one good reason.
One good reason for I influence her to run a marathon with me is for good health and also reduce weight.
So my team persuaded me that there's a lot of beautiful girls.
Social side.
A new experience for me.
New experiences. Some people like new experiences, right? Yeah.
For us, we told each other like that. Now our body still can. So we can do it. Yeah. No, you can
There's a very famous story a number of years ago of an Indian man who started doing marathons at the age of 80. Started at the age of 80, and he lived to 100. He was still doing marathons. So it's never too late. It's a true story. Reason.
You don't have to wake up early to see the sunrise.
Absolutely. Yeah, very nice. I like that. Beautiful skies right now in Cambodia. So yeah.